Hello and welcome to another Royal Retinue review. Excuse, I'm not wearing my crown today. It's upstairs. It's up there, but it's so hot in here that if I wear that crown, I would be sweating the whole live stream, and I just can't be bothered with that. I hope you don't mind. No, I know it's part of the paraphernalia, I just say, but it's way too hot in here. I have my window open, I have a fan blowing. in the ceiling, and I just barely going by. So today we are welcome to the Real Retinu Review. It's the monthly gathering where I like to thank my lovely patrons and patrons for the amazing support, where they can submit one miniature and I will give them feedback. That's how it works. And today we have just 6 entries, so a very chill day. It's going to be a fun live stream, so get something to make a royal decree against Hitler. I'm going to go to the chat in a minute. But yeah, time to grab, a cup of tea or a cold drink or a soda or whatever you want, some whiskey or something, and join me for what is going to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of live stream, probably more than the hour and a half mark. And I will be going through 6 submissions and give them feedback on how to improve, all based on each person's skill level and where on the point in the journey they are in. Apart from that, there's a couple of videos coming. I 3D designed and printed these little things inspired by the Stali work. These are for testing paints, and these are for the second perfect palette video about contrast paints. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Super happy with how they turned out. They're based on the tiles of my home city, and I have a bunch of them because I have to print 50 of them to make the whole thing. And I have to print them, which is a pain in the ass. I just realized that the worst part about it is printing them, is priming them, sorry. Apart from that, yes, there's a couple of videos coming. One is that, the other is probably about, you will see. I'm not decided yet on what the next video is going to be. But today, we are here to celebrate something different. Something stuck on my tablet. But today we are here for the Real Retinu Review. Apart from that, a couple of things. I'm still doing masterclasses this whole summer. Next one is in London. It will be the 6th and 7th of this month of July, sorry. And there are still spots available. So if you want, just send me an email to the contact address in the description. There should be one, or if not, just you'll probably find. Just send me a private message through social media, and we can solve it. Then we have Heidelberg, the 3rd and 4th of August. That is just one spot available for that in Germany. Then we have Munich, 10th and 11th, which is completely full. We closed that due to space concerns, and I'm happy that we did that. I want to give everyone the best experience possible. And then we have Hamburg, I think it's 24th and 25th, around those. It's just a Saturday and Sunday at the end of August. And there are about 4 to 3 spots available for that, so it's getting really full. Apart from that, I think there's going to be one, but I don't think, I'm 100% sure there's going to be one in the Netherlands in September, and hopefully, fingers crossed, another one in October in Nottingham, which is going to be with something very special, because I decided to commission my own bust. It's not a bust that you can get anywhere else. It's a bust that you will only be able to get in the masterclasses, and once the masterclasses are done, I may sell it in my Etsy store. But for the time being, it's going to be an exclusive bust just designed for masterclasses. It's going to be really cool. I already paid the sculptor, so I hope it happens, because it was a lot of money. But I having been a sculptor myself, I know what the process are, and it was a fair price. It's just a lot of money because it's a lot of work. So those are the master classes. If you want to join, just send me an email and we can talk about that. But now it's time for the review. Okay. So again, most of my lights are off, so you're going to see me a little bit darker than usual. Today is going to be one of those days. Sorry about that. Let's start with Geek Daddy. Sexy name. Let me put this here in front. Yeah. So in the chat we have Table Gold and Tim, which says, "Where is the crown? It's too hot for the crown." The crown is here. The crown is here. It's just way too hot to wear it. Like ridiculously hot. I don't want to be sweating the whole live stream. If you don't mind that, I'm sure you don't, but just in case, let me try something. Maybe this works. Oh yeah, this works fantastically. Look at that. I'm all shiny now. I made I was investigating lights for a while, and because I'm always looking for the perfect lighting setup, and it's something that I'm really nerdy about. And I designed and 3D printed this honeycomb mesh for my Elgato light. This is not made by Elgato, this is just 3D printed. And I'm really proud of this. It works fantastic for the normal shots. But it is designed so once you move out of that angle, it just doesn't give you any light at all. That's why it's what it's designed for. And yeah, I just took it off, and now, well, I'm all shiny. So now you can see me better. Not that that's an improvement, right? But you know, I guess this is better. So it's like a custom light diffuser. This is a custom light diffuser. Honeycomb patterns, honeycomb meshes are a kind of light diffusers. I have one in my light there. That's where it only illuminates my bald head. But yeah, I made this for the Elgato key light. Look at that. And it's slightly melting because this is PLA, and the light gets pretty hot. So you can see how it's bending. It's just deforming as it gets hot, and this just droops on the light. Yeah, what are you going to do? This gets pretty hot. Yeah, I don't think even a PTG would stand that. So let's just say that's good enough. I might find a way to make one out of metal. I know they sell honeycomb metal grids, and I'm sure it can be done. It's just so lazy. Oh, we have Mario and Dare to Wonder. Welcome to the chat, boys. And let's get on to the. Oh, it's Leah from the Ring. Hello, welcome. Let's get on to the review, shall we? So we have this from Geek Daddy, and Geek Daddy submitted 4 pictures of 4 different miniatures, and I think my writing on the ruling wasn't clear enough. It's just one miniature. I can't really judge 4 different miniatures. Sorry about that. So I picked the one that I think is the most interesting, which is this Anakin from the new game, Star Wars miniature game. I really don't know. First thing is you probably should be a little bit more careful about the mold lines. But apart from that, let's jump right in. I really like the lightsaber. I think it's fantastic, and the face is actually quite good. It does look like Anakin, so that's a compliment. My first tip would be probably better not be inside his face. Yeah. Let's just check. No, it's oh yes, a little bit of sand. No wonder why he is pissed. That's such a bad joke. So why don't we get onto this? Let me get this smaller. Let me choose a different brush of the ones that I usually pick. I can't remember which ones I use the most. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah, probably this one is going to be. Well, I don't like this one. Sorry about that. I'm trying to find the brush that I usually use. This would be enough. We have Go For It Painting. Welcome to the chat. So, my main thing is that we have a shiny lightsaber here, which is not casting any light. And kind of the thing when you're painting Jedi's is you have to integrate the OSL. I know, no, not everyone likes it, but I do. So first thing we have to do, really, is pick the darkest brown we have here on the face, and oh, let me use a separate layer. Oh, I don't like this brush. Sorry, it's going to take a while to get used to this, to find myself. I'm awful at this. Why do I keep making this when I'm this bad? Oh, there you go. There you go. This is the one I like. So first of all, what you have to do when you're doing this kind of thing is darken down the side where the lightsaber is. So you want a darker, because you can't really put OSL over a light paint job. So white and stuff like that. That's one why when I painted my witch hunter, even though the inside of the cape is a bone color, I went for a very dark brown on the OSL part where the lamp is sitting. Otherwise, it just doesn't read well. And it's one of those mistakes that most people make when they are painting OSL over a light color surface. First of all, if you can avoid a light color surface, do it. It's not doing anything for you. And second of all, if you can't avoid it, make it really dark. So now we're going to pick like a mid-tone of the lightsaber. Again, I really like how he painted the lightsaber, so that's fantastic. And I'm going to start putting this blue on this side. Just, you can put a little bit there, a little bit there, also on the hair. Hair is really shiny, so it should reflect most of the lightsaber light. All of this cloth will be hidden with the lightsaber blue. This is really not that difficult to make. I know it looks really intimidating, and if you think about it, in like a lot of people are scared about it. It's so easy to do that, and look how much better he looks. So when you're doing OSL, again, the steps are really simple. You need to darken down the area where the light is going to be hitting from the lightsaber. That needs to be as dark as possible, so the OSL reads better. And then you put the OSL, and look how much cooler he looks. It's just so simple to do, but it does work. It does make wonders. And you can see here in the hair, but I forgot to put the dark tone first. Let me grab that brown again. So you can see here it doesn't work as well, and you can, and I'm going to, because I forgot to do the brown, the darkening down first. So let me do that now and repeat the process. So I just darken down that area, and now I can go back and add this. And look at how much better that looked immediately. Again, we need to darken the whole area and then apply the other color. Same here probably for the nose. This area here. Oops. And then I want to pick this blue up. And in some areas, we can even go a little bit brighter with this. Especially the closer we get to the lightsaber or to the main face. Let me fix a couple things I'm not happy with. So, yeah. There you go. So I was happy at this point, and I think I went a bit too far with the dark brown on the nose here. Just want a little bit, and then I can go there. There you go. There you go. I quite like that. A lot better. There a little bit on the lip. Just like that. And it's such a massive improvement. And now we can get a brighter tone and just apply this over some of the areas, just some of them. The most prominent of the ones that are closer to the lightsaber, just like that. And let me show you how much of an improvement that makes. Look at that. How much personality this is adding, and ambience and everything is just so much better. Yeah, super happy with that. Another thing that it's lacking here is everything's a little bit too flat. You can see, I can see maybe one highlight over the purple, one highlight over the browns, one highlight over everything essentially. With this addition of the blue, the face is actually done. I wouldn't probably add anything else. It just works really well. We could probably work on the hair a little bit more. So hair usually works better if you render it like in bands. So I'm trying to make this section darker to emphasize the light here. Let me get this. And we could even go brighter with his hair in this central area, which the light itself is already doing, just like that. And we could probably go even a little bit more, just because otherwise we have the light there. There you go. Just like that. You see how much contrast we are adding there? Look at that. It's just the right placement. We can also play with these reflections, because where the hair partition is, hair usually just shines a little bit, so we can add that highlight there and then this highlight there. So look at how much realistic that hair looks. Rendering hair is one of those things that once you get the hang of it, it's very satisfying. Just look at that. And the same can be said about the rest of the model, really. So what this kind of model is asking for is that you concentrate the attention on this section here. So most of the attention should be at this area, which means that we want to increase our highlights around that area. Oops, come on. There you go. So like that. You don't have to highlight everything to that same level, but you want to gravitate the attention towards the face. Also, once you start to go volumetric with your highlights, this has a little bit of that volumetric approach, but there is always more we can do. So like that, and like that. Once you start to go volumetric, you can go to insane levels of contrast and still read well. For example, we could go up to there, just around the face, again, to bring everything together. And I wouldn't apply that highlight anywhere else, just around the face, because we want to pick the attention. Even if you leave everything painted as it is, without touching it, like that, just doing this, it's giving your miniature so much more. It's so much more. You don't need to do, you just need to paint the good bits good. I remember when I painted, it was, I think, the Imperial Fist for my zero scale yellow video, and I went for something that Richard Gray does, which is paint the miniature just very normal, and then paint the good bits really well. So I was sure I added the spot highlights in the right places. I painted the lenses glowing, you know, those kinds of things, very small things. And I even said that in my Instagram post, and Richard answered like saying, yeah, that's what I usually call painting the good bits good. That's why I say it that way. So just by painting the good bits good, we get this absolutely stunning looking miniature, even if the rest is just the same as you did, and it really makes a massive difference. Let's just concentrate on the mini itself. If you see what you submitted to this, the difference is stunning. But if you want to work in a more general sense of the mini, like not just concentrate on the good bits, we can push the contrast quite a lot, but just in the good parts. So I would probably concentrate it there, a little bit more highlights, but very small, in a lot more details. I will also play with the dark tones a lot, just to emphasize that contrast quite a lot more. Grab that highlight color. So, but thinking about volumes and not about edges. That's the key part when you're painting cloth, is that you want to think about volumes and not about edges. Edges should be painted. Look at the difference in that cloth painting. And how it looks the same color. I haven't changed the color by adding more contrast. It just looks more contrasty. And I can even go darker. If you want darker, you can go darker. And it still looks the same piece of cloth. It just looks more realistic. So thinking about volumes and not about edges. That's mainly my advice. And the lower you go with the miniature, the less it really matters. No one gives a shit about the feet of the mini. If someone is looking at your miniature feet, you fucked up. You already fucked up because that's you failed as at the basic task of bringing attention to the parts you want to bring attention to. You even could just darken down the feet quite a lot. Hey, shut up. Up. There you go. You could even darken down the feet. Oh, that's looking awful. What are you doing? Okay, there you go. I have no idea why this is doing that. What if my mini was wearing high Jordans? Then you probably want to bring attention to that. But again, we could probably just darken down the feet quite a lot. Just make the miniature considerably darker towards the bottom, and no one would give a shit. So we could just, I'm just painting the shadows so we don't lose that much contrast. But you could probably just darken down the feet and darken down the base, probably, maybe. Who knows as well, probably. Or something that I think is really cool but not done too much is just like paint like this paint like the shadow of the mini on the base and make the base darker as in general, just like that. And then you have a way more dramatic looking mini. So, and this is not that far away from the rest of the paint job. Again, one of the tricks with this mini, especially when it has such a prominent element like the lightsaber, is that you want to bring attention to that element and the elements surrounding it. That's what makes the miniature interesting, or at least interesting to look at. So by darkening down anything that we're not interested in, so from here downwards, no one gives a shit. He's not wearing Air Jordan, so we don't really care. And by bringing up the contrast in the right areas, we really improve the look of the miniature quite dramatically. Again, look at the difference. Yeah, pretty dramatic change. So again, thanks for the submission, Geek Daddy. I hope that was useful. And let's move on to the second entry, which is Tom. I know if Tom is here. Probably not. Doesn't seem like it. But he submitted this ogre. Generally speaking, this ogre looks perfectly acceptable for the tabletop, but there are a couple of things that are striking me out as maybe not working. One of them is this leather here, or this brown leathery sections. Let me add another layer so I not mess up his work, and I can switch from seen to unseen. Is we have probably the right level of contrast is just too aggressive. So what I would probably do is just take like an sort of an amber, like a burnt amber kind of color, and just do a glaze of it, like an ink or a contrast paint. Just glazing all of these highlights. The highlights themselves are not bad. I'm not disagreeing with the placement or with the level, with the value. I quite like the value. just to make sure I have the right color, let me pick it up and then redo all of this. And now we can redo these highlights, but smaller. So I quite like the light placement. I like a lot of things, but they were a little bit too aggressive. But by doing glazes with an ink and then redoing the highlights on top of those reduce highlights, then we have a much pleasant to look at model, or just section of the model. It's not like it's not like staring me directly, because once I saw this, I opened this, the first thing my eyes went is here, because we have basically the value of that contrast is so high that my eyes just went there, and that's not what we want. But by doing this, just by glazing and then going in the same value but smaller, we get the desired effect, which is this. The other thing that's striking me is the metallics, and it's not that they look bad. I don't think that they look bad. Again, the highlight placement is in the correct place. It's just that we are starting for quite a messy foundation, which is making it really difficult for us to get to a smooth result. Let me try and grab the mid-tone here. Probably this is a good mid-tone. Let me grab it again. I think I lost it. So it's just too messy. Just because they're metallic paints doesn't mean that you don't have to be, careful with your application or do uniform layers. We want this to be way smoother. Oh, I now realize the problem. So we want this to be smoother, and then we can go into the bright highlights and again do them a little bit smoother. And then you can add all of this and all of that, and just like that. I know that sometimes you want like that hammered metallic look, but that doesn't mean that has to be the only way of doing it. Just do this. I might have gone a little bit too far. That's what happens when you do stuff without a reference. So difficult to get. Just can't get the right metallic color. Wait a second. There you go. So a little bit of a smoother work on the metallics would, it looks like my uncle Mansour. He lives on an island and went a bit senile. He thinks he's a pirate, so the overgrown beard and the 1700 style jacket fit. Oh my god. I really hope that's a true story, because that's awesome. But yeah, so look at what I mean by smooth. Look at how not smooth the work on the metallics is. On the contrary, the jacket looks, it's a great uncle but true. That's awesome. So the work on the skin and the work on the blue and the work on the jacket is smooth and nice, and the work on the metallics just looks, too messy. So I will look a cleaner metallic look, even if it's for an ogre. I would love a little bit of a cleaner metallic look. Apart from that, there are a couple of details that I don't know if you missed or they just look unpainted. So, for example, this bone here, I don't know if it's bone or what, but it just doesn't look painted. All of these gold details on the beard, they would benefit from a wash. Just because right now we have an orange beard. Nothing wrong with that, but we have gold on top, and it just looks. There is no separation. So what I would probably do is probably paint all of these ornaments silver for more contrast, but make sure you do a wash over them. Otherwise, they are really difficult to pick up. But apart from that, let me just... So here on the steel, let me do the steel and I will be done. What you want to do with this is just pick a point and make the metal really shiny there. I know you're going for those lines, but I would just pick a point and just make it really shiny. Just like that. And that just immediately makes that sword look, you know, sharper. We can also add things like the stubble on the top of the head, just to make it look less uniform. So one thing you can do, apart from the obvious, just, you know, putting some stubble, is also making the skull or the scalp darker as it goes downwards. So I would probably add a rim of dark light there, and then with the other color, this color here, you have there. So just following the same colors that you use, so we're not confusing anything. Look how much better that head looks already. Like that. Yeah, like that. It's just small things. On top of this, we can do like this stubble thing. For that, I will just take something like Cohelia Green Sage. I know this sounds completely unnatural, but it just works. It's like this. And you have to make it really thin for this. And apply it very gently too. So we have sort of like shaven head effect. And now he looks awesome. It's a massive improvement. But yeah, overall, really, Cindy is a wonder, says Mario. Do you look at a new mini for a while for a concept and a recipe for the whole thing? Or did you just start because you know what you want to do? Because you know what you are doing. Please articulate. So, usually I already know what I want to do before I start, because I already have an idea, or more than usually I'm just following other people's work, and usually what happens. There's nothing wrong with copying. You don't have to do everything, you know, like textbook or original. You can just copy a paint job. So, for example, I want to paint the Nurgle guy with a scythe on a horse for my Patreon to do on a masterclass. Then what I'm going to do is just copy the color scheme from the box. I don't really care. I honestly don't care. So I'm just going to I'm just going to copy that and just going to use the colors that I feel fit well on that. Essentially, that's what I'm going to do. And if I have an original color scheme, then I already have that color scheme. I don't have to think about it, because before I paint the mini, while you are building it, you have plenty of time to think about what you want to do. Or maybe you're just building a mini because you have a good idea, you just want to replicate it. That also happens. It's an interesting discussion. I like yours says, if it's mini in one of my 40k or AOS army, I start knowing what I'm doing exactly. That's what I meant. If you're making detailed plans before painting, it depends. So if I'm before I start an army, then yes, I do plan it because I plan the concept ahead of the army. If I'm painting a single mini, I'm just probably just either winging it or following one color scheme or getting inspiration from a piece of art. So that's usually what I. So the thinking work is usually done for me. Or if I'm just winging it because I think I just had an idea and I just think it's going to work and I wing it, then that's already done. Again, I'm just winging it. Hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but hope it does. Let's move on to another paint job. This is a bust by Stavros, and we've been painting this together for our tutorings. So mine is here. Mine is just half because I'm maybe I will finish this at some point, but I'm just painting it for the class for him to have a reference and how the lessons go. But the way you want to get lessons from me, I offer them through my Patreon. You have the link, there you go. You have the link there. Just follow the finger and you will get to the link. And he did an amazing job. This is his first bust also, which makes this even more impressive how good that looks, if you ask me. A couple of things I would probably do, and this was maybe my mistake, being clear. Let me grab this darker color. There you go. I would probably want to see a darker color. Let me make this brush smaller on the sides of the head, just so the middle of the head looks brighter. So I kind of like the level, the value of the forehead, but I think surrounding details could be a little bit darker, sort of like that. Not necessarily on the middle. Let me tone that down a little bit. There you go. Here we have this color that we could probably increase a little bit on the nose. But again, all of this. Oh, I know something I want to probably do. Just this, the inside of the eyelid. I know this sounds ridiculous for most people, but yeah, the inside of the eyelids, so they don't look off. Also, I'm thinking if I don't mind the highlights on the eyes in different places, but here I do want them to be overlapping the iris. So my thinking is maybe I want this to be here, so it's in the same point on both eyes. You want pure white also there. There you go. And maybe take it off there. Also this dark blue should be there, and this white of the eye should probably go there. Small fixes, but yeah, it kind of looks better when both whites are the same shape and look in the same direction. And you probably need to make this bigger, like that. Yeah. That makes a little bit more sense. Also, more things. The hair I think it probably needs a little bit more contrast in some areas. Let me grab this. So I would probably want a little bit more definition around these areas of the mustache. So a little bit darker. Cool looking bust. That face, only a mother would love. Great paint job. It's a really good paint job. I'm really proud of him. I would want all of these individual shapes, just splitting them up, just making them separate. The contrast in general on the individual shapes is good. I don't want any changes there. What I want is just a little bit more definition in between these individual shapes, so we don't have you know, a difficult to read miniature. I forgot to do the second layer thingy, so yeah, that's a quite a big fuck up. I hope it doesn't mind. So, for the skin, I would probably want to see a little bit more highlights there, and there. Just so they are at the same level, just and in the same plane. Same for probably here. I do like that we have like a darker shade downwards, like in backwards. That is good. I do like that. But I probably want more highlights around that area. So again, we are creating more 3D-dimensionality. Just look at the difference. It's not massive, but especially on the mustache, it just reads so much better. And for the beard here, I think you could probably go a little bit more aggressive, especially towards the sections that are near the face. And also, here, for example, like there, and here. Same here. So everything that is facing towards us can be a little bit brighter. And then we can get an orange filter. Like a dark orange filter like that. And make this filtery. And just filter these the parts of the beard that are a little bit downwards. So we have like a super bright beard around the face. Again, we're trying to bring attention to the face. That's what we're going, or what we're trying to do. I like the eyebrows. Those look awesome. Let me bring a little bit more reddish, pinkish thing. Whoop. Probably so difficult to paint this. Oh, of course, I had the lowest opacity possible. Of course, it wasn't working. I would probably do. Where is my eyes yellowy kind of color? I'd probably do like a brighter highlight on the lip, just there. Yeah, that works. And you can probably use the same almost pure white to bring attention to the nose. Very small highlights in this section. Just like that. And same can be said about, main features around the eyes. With such well-painted eyes, you probably want to bring attention there. That's how you do it. We're not going to touch the ears or anything backwards, but we want that extra final highlight on there. But overall, super cool work. Let me put maybe a little bit more of this there. Really cool job and a fantastic effort and a fantastically good looking mini. Let me probably darken down that. Let me try and be careful. So I might want to tone down the skin around there. And let me grab a mid-tone. Color. And probably try to, yeah. So trying to bring that skin color up just a little bit. Maybe. Goes like there. No, I'm not sure I like that actually. I think I liked it more when it was darker. Or something like that. Yeah, I quite like that. That is quite pleasing to look at. So yeah, really good job, Stavros. I think you did fantastically well. Is someone? Oh, we have Tom here. Your mini was the previous one. Sorry, Tom. Dare to wonder if someone's looking at the feed, then it's Santino. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah. So let's move on to the next mini. It's from Tim, and this mini is for Golden Demon. So we just entered a special territory, and there's a couple of things that I feel this mini could benefit from, especially for a painting competition. And I think he just basically wants some feedback on the armor. First of all, we have this beautiful green with this orangey desaturated bouncing light. Perfect color combination there. What's pulling me off is that we have inconsistent oranginess on the reflections. So this area looks fantastic. This area looks fantastic. Not so sure about this leg here. If I'm honest, I will probably paint this leg. Let me do another layer. Green. This section of the leg, I will probably paint it green. Like that. Instead of the orange. It just feels more connected. And I would add this orange on the inside part here. That looks better if you ask me. Yeah, I know it's facing downwards, that area, but you don't necessarily want to be always realistic, if you know what I mean. Sometimes you just have to paint things that look good. They're not necessary. I mean, that probably wouldn't really happen in a realistic sense. So if you look in the mini in a realistic way, so for example, I would paint these sections orange as well on the inside here. Same for the inside of the legs here. And again, this is all my subjective opinion, okay? So I know this is facing downwards, and it probably realistically should be orange, but it doesn't read well. So if you paint it green, now suddenly it reads well. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it does. And if you're adding this orange reflection, you should add it to the arms as well. It just looks really good. You know how things look good in a movie? That's because there is a cinematographer and a lighting guy in that scene that look good exactly. So I would probably, it's not necessarily what is realistic. It's just that you need to add those details. So here in the arms, he would benefit from that as well. Also, you can always say there is an orange light from below him or whatever. Or this may seem weird, but don't say anything. Just let the minion speak for itself. And I know this doesn't immediately make sense, but we would probably have a secondary bouncing light on this section from this. So if orange is bouncing here, it will also bounce there. And now we are getting into the territory of bouncing lights, which is a dangerous one. But also probably just want to add like edge highlights on this orange. Just the edge highlights on some sections. For example, there. For example, probably there. Just a bit. It's a dangerous game to be playing in this because we really, I mean, how much do you want to do? But to me, what I do is what I feel looks good, and to me, this just feels good. Those added touches on the legs just feel good. It just helps combining everything. Also, if you are establishing that the armor is really reflective, then it really needs to be very reflective with everything else. So things like this purple, which is lovely, would probably reflect on some of the surfaces there. And you can even go mad and start adding these purple reflections on more stuff. I mean, if this is for Golden Demon, if you are going to go mad with it, you can really go nuts with it. Would also be a good thing to add some contrasting colors on stuff like these plates on the chest and stuff like that. Just to add a little bit more interest. I know it doesn't make necessarily sense, but you know, just a little bit of purple there would probably be a cool touch. Or just a darker version of this green, if we are honest. So probably a darker version. So not probably going onto the whole thing, but some secondary bouncing lights of this green would be beneficial just to add readability to this. Just like that, because if you don't have that, it kind of looks hard to read, and you sometimes want to add readability. So I feel like those details work with that. But again, such a subjective topic because we all have different artistic interpretations of different pieces. And this is one of those examples where artistic interpretation is so important. And especially for Golden Demon, you have to paint something that you are comfortable with in all senses. So, you know, we could, instead of doing orange highlights here, we could probably take this red and just integrate it here. Just on the shadow bits and probably a little bit on the arms. So you need to think or decide how you're going to integrate all of those reflective things on things and things. Is once you go through the rabbit hole of a super reflective surface, then it's a deep rabbit hole to go downwards. So good luck with that. I honestly don't envy you in the slightest because this is really difficult. It's really difficult to decide what you want to do. So you could also get this green and add a little bit of the green around the eyes. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. So hard to say. This is probably a piece where you're going to invest so much time and you're going to be tweaking things for a very long time. Just have in mind that you don't necessarily always want realism. You sometimes want artistic license. Just that. Just have that in mind. But it's going to look stunning once you finish with it. But think about all of this. So, for example, one thing that you really don't want is a piece where some bits look unpainted, or that it is difficult to read unless you have a deep black background, because this looks good with your background, but you also want to add readability outside of it. So you don't want parts to look just dark, because especially for Golden Demon, if you would have told me, I don't know, this is for Mons and Savino, then I wouldn't be so picky with these things. But Golden Demon judges really go nuts with looking at every single part of the model and making sure every single part is painted to the same degree. And if you have like a super dark part where nothing reads, it's just dark, then they are going to be really harsh judging that. Also, the level is so high right now for Golden Demon that they just are so nitpicky. So I don't know. Really difficult to paint for Golden Demon at this point in the Golden Demon history. You're going to do well. I just want to be clear about this. I really hope you do well. I think you will do well. You're a fantastically good painter. But just know that it's really hard. So don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself. I would probably do the easy thing with the eyes. Oh. And just go glowy with them. Just because I know it looks good. And then grab a bright green. And you can do like the OSL thing. Very subtle, because again this is white-ish. So you probably don't want too much. So for that. And it's a very subtle thing, but it's a thing that I know the judges like. And it usually helps with the wow factor. Not that it doesn't have wow factor already, but it usually helps. Usually helps. But yeah, really, it's a really cool piece to paint. I already painted this, so it's a really cool piece to paint. I know that already. So if you are doing that, you may want to also do like the glowy cables. But again, you start going through a rabbit hole. Oops, damn it. Of a lot of stuff that needs to be in accordance. So really hard to say how much of the glow you want to integrate, how much stuff you want to do. That's up to you. But for Golden Demon, I would probably just go nuts. Just go nuts. Just don't leave anything untouched. Golden Demon needs a separate competition for professionals trying to push their brand and non-pros like the contest used to be. Pros try to win to increase their brand while hobbies love the hobby. That is a hot topic, I would say. So, how do you establish which person goes into which part of the competition? Do you leave it to their own accord? Or do you force people that are known to go into the pros part of the competition, which is going to be harder to win. It's a tricky thing to say, if you ask me. I don't know. Oh, we have root vegetable. Hey Juan, you had to choose 1 minute to show broken magic after your break. How many magic could you fit in your break? Not many. My break is not that big. I'm off. I'm off to going mad. Yeah. So you probably want to go. Okay. Many thanks. So yeah, I would probably just go completely bonkers with this. And if you're doing a reflective armor, go 100% with it. Just put all of the colors that are around it, because this is going to be like what we have. One color, the armor is this like dark turquoise. That's fantastic, beautiful color. Then we have orange for the ground, purple for the cloth, green for the glow, and a little bit of red burgundy for the headpiece, for the Warhammer hat, as my partner would say. So these are not that many colors, and you can integrate all of those, the green, the red, the purple, and the orange, in different parts of the armor. Small touches of that, and yeah, help everything go together. Then you have the question of what you're going to do with the gems. It has a bunch of gems in the neck area, as well as the spikes on the horns on the what the fuck? My brain just forgot how to say that word. Of the back, probably from the back. So what are you going to do with them? You're going to paint them all the same color? Are you going to include even more colors? I don't know what would be better. My first go would be I would just do them all green and not introduce necessarily more colors into the miniature. I think you have a cool color palette, and I'm not sure if I want to just put more colors into it. So it's a tight rope to be walking. You have all of this cloth being purple, so the gems can't be purple. Oh, you bet I will add more colors. Yeah. So you want to do more colors, do more colors. You want to keep the color palette tight, do so. But I would integrate more colors into the armor. So think about reflective armor and just go nuts with all of the colors reflecting from the armor in the darker places. So your sense for placing colors like NMM reflections is flawless. You just need to fill all of the dark spaces with the other colors, because in the main highlights, no reflective colors will shine, because that's where the light is and that's why the color of the armor is shining through. The other secondary colors are going through in the dark parts. So fill the dark details, which you are really good at doing. Just fill them with the other colors, and I think you will do a fantastic job. It's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece, and I really, really hope it goes well for you in Golden Demon, because it's so fucking difficult. Golden Demon, man, like so difficult. So let's move on to the other one. We have two more. Next one is Joe, which wants some feedback on the NMM, and it's a pretty simple feedback. So the red looks fantastic. The blade actually looks really good. The blade is great. It's just that the rest doesn't really look like metal for a very simple reason. We have a lot of mid-tone, and the contrast is just not moving quick enough, and it's not in the right places. So let's start by the obvious thing, which is we need more darks, and we need those to be placed correctly. So what if we have the light shining through this sort of direction? Let me add a second layer before I forget. Let me add with red sort of where I want my light to come from. So I want my light to be coming. No, I want the red. Why did you just pick the red? There you go. So I want my light to be coming from this sort of direction. More or less like that. More or less like that. So first step should be to darken down all of these metallic details from the direction that the light is not hitting. A little bit bigger brush. Oh, come on. Fuck off. Go. There you go. Now. So just by darkening down the areas of the model that are not hit directly by the light, you would see that we are gaining quite a lot of contrast already. The shield trim is a different subject altogether. We will touch on that later. But sort of like this. Sort of like that. Sort of like this. And like this. And like that. So, again, all of these darkened down. Just look at how much better that looks already, just because we have darker darks. Now the next obvious thing we should do is brighter bright. Again, we are painting metal, so that means we want a lot of contrast. So I'm just the same way I did the darker bits. I'm going to make the side that is actually facing the highlights much brighter. That. Just like that. That. And look at the change. Look at the change. It's quite amazing what you can do just by adding more contrast. So this is the second stage of doing NMM, and the final stage is just the final details. So now is when we go small and start adding the final reflection. So we pick up edges that are facing the light, like that. We go very aggressive with them. You can even pick like this edge here and there. You see the difference that makes? Look at that. We went from plastic to metallic. Here, you already did that. You just need to emphasize these edges. Pick up these rivets. Make sure that it's highlighted. Pick up that. Stuff like there. Here, making sure that it's picked up. That all of these edges that are facing the source of light get quite bright. Sort of like that. I'm not trying to. So talking about Teams Mini, he says I'm not trying to win anything. Yeah, wanna thank you. Oh, go! Someone's got to go. Hey, old sorry, won't make this as it's my daughter's birthday party. Oh, Stavros, yours was already happened, so feel free to revisit the video. The video will be up there. I'm not planning on deleting videos. So we have that, picking up rivets and stuff like that. And if we emphasize the nature, painting Warhammer trim, armor trim, is quite a challenge with NMM. It's really not easy. But the trick I do is usually select a point where I want my maximum highlight, in this case is here. And then I put the maximum highlight there, just making sure. I usually pick a place where it's a hard edge, like here, we have a hard edge in the middle. And I put brightest highlight in one place, darkest dark in the other. And then just build through that. So my light is here, dark here, light here, dark here, light here, dark here, light, dark, dark, light. Simple. That's how trim usually goes. If this is meant to be gold, we have the same issue, in that we probably want a brighter highlight there, but we also want darkest dark, more dark bits, more dark bits. So like that, like that, and like that. Sort of like that. Now that looks way more metallic. Another thing we can do to add metallicness to stuff is secondary reflections. So this highlight we do here on the inside really helps. Same for probably here and there. Oh, Paul Mackay is here. Paul, it's the first time you haven't submitted anything, Paul? Because I really missed your email, or did I miss your email and you send it and I don't have it for some reason? Because I was really weirded out when I didn't saw your email. I wonder, I had a Mandalorian bus for the masterclass on my death now. That's awesome. I'm really glad you had a good time. So we have that there. You see the difference again. Look at that. Such a massive difference. Again, when you're painting non-metallic metal, the key is high contrast in a small area. So we want that, but also focused contrast. We need to pick a source of light. It just looks better, especially for small details like the head. And there's more we could probably do here, but it already looks way better. So another good example, just because we have time, why not? So would be the feet here, where we have a hard edge. Hard edges are really easy to paint because you just put maximum highlight on one side, maximum dark on the other. We can even add a secondary highlight on that side. Boom, feet painted. It's just so easy. Not like this. You want to go like full on volume here. That's one of the issues. You just need to think about the volumes and separate them from the rest. You are thinking too much about GW style of highlighting. Just like that. You see the difference there. No, mate, I'm going to be more selective with what I send you in the future. Pieces that I've already tried my best with. That's awesome. So glad for that. Do what you think is better for you. I'm happy to give you feedback on anything. You see here at the blade, you have the correct thing. You have dark to light, light to dark. You have high contrast in the hard edge. So lightest part here, darkest part here. Looks amazing. Fantastic. Do the same on the rest of the model. So that's my main advice on the NM. You wanted feedback on the NM? That's it. So thinking about one source of light, which also usually means thinking about where I'm going to take the picture for the Instagram. Sadly, that is something that we all think of. Oh, another detail here. These faces, really hard to paint with NMM. Really difficult, really challenging. So let me try and do something there to help you out. So first of all, it's darkening down most of it except for the main focus of the face, which is there. Think about think about this as a sort of a cylinder, more or less. So I'm going to put my maximum highlight around here. And let me grab one of these lovely midtones that you have here, but are somehow lost on the shield due to the light of the photograph, sort of like that. So we start from this point. Now we move just into pure white. And I'm going to do it like the heavy metal style. I hope you are well now, Tom. So now we want to start adding these secondary reflections. Again, these faces are so difficult to paint. Sort of like that. That looks more metallic, but we're still not there. We probably want to bring the eyes down. The eyes are probably a little bit too much. Let me grab my white again. Just like that. I'm going to add more white there, white there. Again, really difficult to paint these fucking faces. I put this with a little bit of the brown. That, and then move to the white again. Just like that. That is now working better. So small details. But stuff like that now looks better. Really difficult to paint. So I don't blame anyone not be able to paint these faces like non-metallic metal. They are really difficult. Really challenging. Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you, Tom. Let's move on to the last one. This is from Abraham. Abraham paints again really well. He does really cool OSL effects. We saw one of his dreadnoughts in a past, I think it was last month, and he's getting really good with the OSL. Look at that face; it looks amazing. So the OSL, this area is really fucking good. The armor itself is good enough. You don't need to paint black armor better than this. He does like ultramarines though, so no one's perfect. But let's move on to the NMM, which is not bad, but also could be improved. So I quite like this brushed effect, but I think we probably want some darker darks again. Let me grab that. Like a dark brown color. So I don't know really where to start with this because you have chosen different spaces to put your maximum highlight. So I'm going to go off of this one here. If you want to go with a highlight there, you probably want a darker there. You probably want a highlight in this rounded section, so you probably want your next shadow to be there and cover all of that. Then you probably want a highlight there, then you want a shadow there. Then that highlight there looks good to me, so I'm going to put that shadow there. We are again in the right place with this highlight, and you probably want a shadow there. Nice highlight, looks good. I'm going to put a shadow there and there. So you see how we are creating, and now we can go with the white. To make fun of my Smurfs. Never tried brushed gold before, so I kind of winged it. It's not bad. It's really good. You just want darker shadows. You don't let that brushed effect make you lose your shadows. So I'm going to increase the highlights as they are. You want to maintain that brushed effect. That's good. I like that. But just concentrate, don't leave so much midtones in between. And now we can get sort of in this range of colors. And if you want to portray that brushed effect, we can create that and create some here, but without missing the main objective, which is that pattern of highlights and shadows. We can add some lights there and stuff like that, but you see that I essentially have more darker areas, even if I do this brushing effect. Look at the difference. It's the same effect, but it's less confusing. This just looks too flat. This looks more metallic because I have darker areas and lighter areas, and we have a lot of contrast. It looks quite a bit better. And it's just because of that. It's the same effect, same color, same everything. It's just you can do those brushed effects on the shadow parts as well. Just use darker colors and move towards the lighter areas and use progressively lighter colors. This section here, I quite like it actually. It's not bad. You kind of have the right place, but we probably want sorry, I fucked that up with my colors. There we go. So let me grab my dark brown. Let me move it away and grab my light color. And you probably want this dark brown to be in one side of these spikes. But here, for example, you did it in both. And now let me grab my white and put the white there, and probably a little bit of the white down there. Just opposite. Just do it opposite. And you do want to pick these edges. And if you do this white, you have to pick that edge there. I quite like that. But again, the edges and all of that. And I will probably make my white highlight be more present in this section, so it just matches with this. And then I can what did I just do? Okay, there you go. I just press C instead of what I want to do, which is the brush. There you go. Now I can add some more brown to the other areas like this and there. See, more areas of brown, and the rest looks good. Actually, this section looks good. We have different sections of light and dark. This section looks good. I will probably go with my white and just mark like these edges, just because it looks good. Same for this edge, and same for the inside edge here, making sure all of these edges are well picked up. Same for here and stuff like that. But apart from that, it's a really good job. Probably I will leave that darker gold color. Yeah, fantastic. The rest looks great. One thing you can do if you want to go for like the extra mile, you have here this nice spot highlight, which you did, I'm guessing, with the airbrush, which I guess is yours. Is a very clever way of working. You can probably increase that. And do that spotlight even brighter. And then we can pick this up and do it even brighter. Like in the middle. You can do that with the brush. Usually it looks really cool from the front view. We could probably do the same in the black section. But again, this is completely optional and not necessary to do. I just kind of like it. Oh. Probably not something I would do for all minis, but for characters and stuff like that, it's pretty easy to do and not something, you know, it shouldn't be something too difficult. Let's talk about these edges here for a minute, because these edges are complicated. I put some white there. So what I usually do for these edges is just work the upper part of this edge dark and the lower light, and keep the same pattern repeating across all of the edges. Like that, and like that. Just like that. Super simple. It looks way easier. It looks way better than this. And it's a good way of filling up this weird space. And Abe says, I can do that easy with the airbrush. If you can do it with the airbrush, just do it with the airbrush. You are really, really good with the airbrush. I'm not. I'm awful with the airbrush. But if you can pull this off with the airbrush, then do it. It looks fantastic. Again, it's part of that paint the good things good. You are also attracting attention to this triangle here you have with this OSL and the face, and that's what you want to be. Yeah, I know. You meant the spots on the shoulder pads, and yes, that's essentially it. Really good job. I really like this. Actually, you did a fantastic job with the red metallic sort of background of the shield. That looks great. That looks fantastic. And without even noticing, I just noticed now that it was painted that way. I place my highlights instinctively in the same place that you did these bands. You see that? Same here. Look at that. And I didn't even realize until now. That's the power of a good paint job. You painted the background of the shield so well rendered that without even noticing, I placed the highlight in the same places as you did, just because it looked good to me when I was doing it. And I just realized it makes sense because you did the background work for me. So think about those things. Or don't think about those things like I just did. Whatever. Great job. Fantastic work on your mini ape. I really hope that was helpful for you. And as for the rest of you, let me change. Let me put this back on so I look good. So I look good. Oh, this is so deforming. Just one go. There you go. So let me go back. Where we go with my proper lighting. Cut light. Oh, so juicy cut light. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining me in this about a couple hours worth of painting nerdiness. And yeah, I really hope you like this. I really hope you learn something from this. I genuinely believe these are my best videos, one of my best, most useful videos, and no one watches them. It's tragic. I do enjoy making them, and I do think they are a good resource. That's why I never delete them. Someday someone will see it and find something useful in one of them and make their painting so much better. So thank you very much for being here. If you want to join this review, you have to do is become a patron or a channel member on the tiers Metatarms or above. Usually Patreon just works so much better. So if you become a patron on the tiers Metatarms or above, you will be able to submit one miniature a month for review and be here and also supporting me, which makes a massive difference. Now I'm going to grab something to eat because I'm hungry, and I will catch you in the next one, guys. Bye.